Hey Tex, I was cruising around on the message boards and I got my most favorite question that
Let me guess. Bicep vein.
everybody wants to know how to get the bicep vein, but more importantly, it's my standard question and it's popped up for years, which is, what's up with the hammer curls?
Well, even on Field Strong, a staple within the program is the hammer curl when it comes to accessory work, most likely on a Tuesday or a Friday.
Yeah, no, hammer curls, and I did a blog post on this. If you look up Talk to Me Johnny, put in hammer curls, it'll pop right up where I get into why I've been a huge fan of hammer curls.
How'd you spell curls? Is it curls or curls?
Curls. How else do you spell curls, with a double Z?
Well, I'm on social media and I'm kind of a big deal.
I heard that about you. I heard you're kind of a big deal around here. No, the hammer curl is, that dates, I'm sure, back to, many, many years ago. But I remember when we were talking about accessories and what type of hammer, curls. And when you're 15 years old, you're thinking like, hey, how do I get big biceps? Because, that's how you fill out T-shirts. And, when you're playing football, you want to be able to fill out your pads and, more importantly, your jersey without having to wrap it up and tape the back. I don't know if you remember that. But our jerseys were kind of flappy, so you either had to have bigger arms, and then we would wrap them in the back and then tape them in the back so they were fitted. And then eventually we got to the point where we just had fitted jerseys. But back in the day, they didn't do that for us because, you just got thrown your jersey. But the hammer curl was always fundamental. And I remember old man Zangas talking about, the hammer curl being a great accessory for the bench press. And what I found is that the hammer curl really focuses on that brachialis, which for those of you guys that aren't big into anatomy, is the muscle underneath the bicep. So by thickening that, it can give the upper arm, a greater appearance of thickness and really works on just more the overall size of the arm. And I found that basically heavy hammer curls not only gave me more thickness, made my arms look bigger, more so than just focusing on the peak with a normal bicep curl, which we still do, mind you. They're still in the programs, but we have always leaned really heavy on the hammer curl.
And how would that help contact sports? So we understand where it ties into the bench press, and I suppose even our deadlift. But how about for our contact sport kids out there?
Yeah, same deal. If you think about the position, right? Like if I'm going to punch my hands, thumbs are up, my hands are in a good position. Very few times am I rolling my bicep into this position. So that kind of hammer position is more natural for anything in a clinch. Like if you're doing BJJ or if you're doing a wrestling or if you're in football and you're putting your hands on somebody in a violent way, really good carryover in that. And it just has better carryover to strengthening that upper arm and that forearm and all this position this way, more so than just focusing on a bicep peak. Obviously big bicep, but I've run into guys over the years that had big biceps but didn't have thick arms.
Explain.
Well, I'm sure you guys have seen this. Somebody might not necessarily have big arms, but all of a sudden they go flex the bicep and they got a pretty decent bicep and a pretty big peak and a curl. But for the most part, that thickness on the upper arm this way, which is really the one you want in a football jersey and hanging out of the bar or just basically looking like a jacked motherfucker, I think the hammer curl, with all the different variations we hit from the prone position to the banded hammer curl to the dumbbells. I mean, all the different variations we use, crossbody, hammer, alternating whatever it is in a million different ways. I think that is a staple. If you want to have big, thick arms and you want to look like you lift weights, I think hammer curls fit in it. So, I mean,
it's not only the movement written in a program, John. There's keys to execution. So what are some takeaways that we can give so people have something to focus on when they're gripping and ripping?
So the faults I see, most times people, they kind of default to the heaviest they can do, and we get a ton of swing. So you start seeing this kind of kipping deal. So what I really like to do is I'll start at a lighter weight, and I'll really focus on not only full extension but not swinging, and working on bringing it to the top for a really good squeeze as high as I can, not necessarily shooting my elbow forward this way, and focus on the isometric contraction, and then focus on the eccentric, bring it to a position, and then do the other side. The one that I'll do is when I go a little bit heavier and I might have to cheat, I'll do what's called crossbody, alternating crossbody hammer curls, and I'll tend to cheat a little bit more by keeping it closer to my center of gravity. and I can, let's say I hit hundreds on those, for example. Whereas I think if you're doing them out this way, it's going to look really fucking awful. So if I want this hand position, I'll go a little bit lighter, real strict, and then as I come to a 45, I might go a little heavier, and then if I need to swing or I want to do cheek curls or something a little bit heavier to try to blast out the bicep, I'll come closer to the body, across the body. I like to do 3 different variations, and I always work in ascending weights. So I try to never do the same hammer curl, multiple days in a row. So if I'm hitting hammer curls, I'm going to go.
This is going to be my next question, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to hit those kind of this position. So when I watch people do them, there's a lot of like forward lean shoulder in this way, which, you want to think the shoulder wants to be on the back of the scapula. And you kind of hold in this good position, you bring it up, good squeeze at the top, really focus on squeezing the handle of the dumbbell or the implement that you're using, squeezing it as hard as you can, really focusing on the top of that isometric contraction and then controlling it. No swing. And then if you want to get a little more swing, you want to overload it, you can go to that 45. If you want to go real heavy and look like a real fucking asshole, now all of a sudden, I want to keep that sucker real tight. And I think there's benefits into doing it. My most favorite one is the banded hammer curl. We throw those in a lot, and we'll hook a band, big thick band, and we'll do hammer curls, man, and controlling the eccentric, and we'll hit them for 60 seconds, max reps. And dude, that will blow your form and that upper bicep up. So that's one of my favorites, is that banded hammer curl.
So many variations.
Yeah, and I mean, they all work in different ways. But I think you just have to be able to focus. So, you know what? We'll hit up to the gym. We'll focus on doing a couple different variations of hammer curls and see if we can get those motherfuckers looking nice and thick.
But
thick without a K, because it's THICC now. Thick is spelled that way on the interwebs when you're real thick.
Yeah, I got 1 C right now.
Let's get you a second C.
All right.
What's happening, Power Athlete Nation? I'm John. This is Tex, and we're here to take you through the hammer curl. Why do we like hammer curls? Because we want big forearms, brachialis, probably the best accessory movement that I found for the bench press, other than maybe dips and tricep push down. It's in the order. I'd say it's in the family of having a monster bench. You got to have good hammer curls. We use them a ton in the programs. So we're going to take Mr. Quilkin through our demo on the hammer curls. So he's going to stand up in a good upright position. From there, he's going to bring his hand up nice and vertical. Good. So this is our normal hammer curl. And if you notice, forearms nice and vertical. Now the next one is we're going to do a little bit of cross body. So he's going to come across his body at a 45. Good. So you can get a little more action on it. Nice. And then we're going to bring the third variation all the way across the body. Now, you can see how heavy it is for him. God, you're a huge pussy with like 40-pound hammer curls. All right. So ideally, just hold them there. Ideally, it's going to be a lighter hammer curl this way. All of a sudden, you're going to get to go heavier. And when you want to get hundreds or big ones, big poppies, you got to bring them across your body. So this is our 3 variations of hammer curls. We got hammer curls. We got a little bit. There you go, alternate. I thought we did them with lighter ones. Remember the last time we did? We did like 30, 40, 50.
But you were making fun of me.
All right, crew. That's Power Athletes Hammer Curls. I'm John. This is Tex. And we're the masters of movement.
I'm a loaded freight train and I'm right on track. I'm smoking.